So we're looking, you are looking as a sales professional to get a series of agreements. So remember, the great Harvard negotiating projects, Fisher and Ury, they talked about getting to yes with like a whole series of yeses. So it's not like one big close at the end of the sale. It's a series of agreements. You're getting agreements in conversations. You're getting agreements in meetings that you're looking towards progressing that. What are your thoughts on agreements?
Well, in that book and in many others, getting to yes or something similar on negotiation skills, it doesn't mean you have to get to yes. You may find, with all these little bits along the way, that something you unearth says that, this project is not as good as I thought it was, or it's not going to be as profitable as I thought it was, or it's going to drain our resources more than I thought it was. And so, yes, it helps you to get to the ultimate, but you're trying to get to agreement. But if you're not going to get to agreement, then agree to disagree and then part ways. The last thing we want you to do is sign a deal that 6 months later you think, God, I wish I hadn't have signed that. And
Yes.
so all business is not good business, regardless if you've been working on this deal for the last 12 months. That isn't to say you have to sign it. If it doesn't look like a good deal, it's not good business, get the hell out of there, because you'll regret it if you don't.
Yes, yes. That also gets to another conversation we can't have now, which is about pipeline. Quite often, a lot of the so-called opportunities in pipelines aren't real opportunities because the client has to actually agree to progress it. And the reason it's not progressing is because you could be pretending that it's progressing when it's not really, but you don't want to ask those hard questions to get it off the pipeline or get it off the forecast, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean being mean, but it also means being busy. Like, so you've got a lot of opportunities you're working with, and you could quite honestly say to the client, you could say, look, this looks as if it's going to need a lot of investment from me and from some key members of our team. We are keen to invest that if you see this as something that you'd like to progress with us, and start doing like mini closes as you're green, rather than just pretending that it's progressive and it's not really.
Well, that's a hell of a lot easier way than, some people get so scared of that final closed question. Well, are you going to sign? That they don't ask it. And then all of a sudden they go back around the houses again. And so if you're closing all the way along through the sales process, then you know exactly where you are in the sales process. And so almost at the end, the ideal situation is the client closes you. So when can we start? And you
When
say,
can we start? Can we
yeah,
start? I remember, I know you and I both worked at IBM in different parts of the world, Clive, very early career. I was taught as one of my closing techniques by my IBM sales traders. They said, and then when you put the contract out in front of the client, you ask them to pick up a pen and press hard because there's three copies when they're signing it, to press hard because there's three copies there. Like there's one for them, one for us, and one for the filing system. I thought that was a very cheeky way to close, to say press hard.
yeah.
There's three copies.
Yeah, and again, but it partly depends on the level of relationship you've built over the course of the
Yeah,
summer.
and it becomes like a joke. It becomes like funny. Like you're not doing
Yeah.
it in a serious way. It's like a bit of
Well,
a,
well,
of a joke.
certainly, one of the styles, expressive, which are very people focused, fairly dominant. You often see a lot of salespeople like this. Often they appreciate it because
Yeah, yeah,
it gets to the outcome they're looking for as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or you can ask that theoretical close. You can say, so. I'm looking forward. Like, if we look forward and we'd say you're happy with a recommendation from us, what would we need to satisfy? And getting that, another way of getting not just the decision criteria, but the decision process, which can be two very different things, to see who else is involved, what else is involved, and get a good understanding of how that whole piece works.